All right, guys. Good morning. Welcome to all of you for the webinar of Captured Mile Challenge, which is going to start on June 6th. Now, I would request all of you to keep your sessions on mute. Praveen, आप mute कर सकते हैं अपना वीडियो सॉरी वीडियो अपना ऑडियो म्यूट कर दीजिए
सर डन
चलो मैं कर देता हूँ तुम्हारे लिए कोई बात नहीं we see that some of the folks from Dominican Republic are also joining in. So we have some international audience and we hope to see some more of them join in as part of the event. All right, so it's 2 minutes past 11 already. Let's get started. Let me set up some co-host rights so that our team can take care of people admitting in while the session is going on. And just give me 1 more minute. So Mayank, you should be the co-host now. I see you are. So hopefully things will work fine and you should be able to admit people as they come in.
Yeah, Tanvir, I'll do that. Good morning, everyone.
Hello.
So can you admit Dharmesh and rest of the people who are coming in? So I see a lot of you guys have actually set up your bib numbers or fit IDs on your Zoom account name, but some of you haven't. So that's, anyway, we'll come to all these details when we go through the session. So let me bring up my slides now, which I'm going to present to go over the entire stuff. There is a lot of material I want to cover. So this is probably going to take all of the 1 hour you have or we have for the session. All right, let's get started. So welcome to the first edition of the Backyard Mile Challenge. We have been doing a lot of interesting format events on our HDOR platform. The platform started with 100 days of running in 2015. And since then we started doing multiple virtual challenges and monthly challenges, annual challenges. We started thinking about new ideas and new concepts. This quarantine period, lockdown started us into thinking about more things, more ideas. And this was one of the ideas which came.
Kindly ask everyone to mute.
Yeah, maybe Mayank can mute all.
Lot of disturbance. We are not able to hear you.
Tanvir, now you can.
The idea about the event came up during our team discussions during this entire lockdown situation, and we thought maybe this would be this is more of a it's more of a mental challenge, this event, because the distance is just 1 mile, right? So 1 mile is for runners who have some running experience, who have been running for some time. Running a mile is not a big thing, right? It's something which anybody can do with little practice, or for trained or for people with a lot of experience with running. It's not a big thing. It's not a big achievement. But running the mile hour after hour, that's what the event demands, and that's where the challenge is going to come in. You have to do 1 mile or at least 1 mile every hour. and you have to do it for as long as you think it's realistically possible for you to do this. जब तक आपको लगता है कि आप कर सकते हो बिना अपने को बहुत ज़्यादा exert करे हुए. So that is very important. You will have to take a call of how much you want to do this, how many hours you want to do this. So, okay, let's move ahead with the content for the session. So, welcome once again. First of all, we are as excited as all of you in organizing the event. This is something which we are doing for the first time. It's a different kind of format. So there are challenges for us as well in trying to conceptualize this and execute this, and I'm sure this applies to you as well who haven't done anything on similar lines before. I mean, all of us are used to running the 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers, half marathon. Many of us have done ultra marathons as well, running for 24 hours and 48 hours, and you know what? Those are different things. This one involves like you run for a mile and then you come back, and that changes the entire thing. That changes your entire picture of how you want to take this event. You come back, you rest, you recover, you do your day-to-day work, and for the next hour you start again. So it's a different format and it's a different kind of challenge, and I hope you all will love this and enjoy this when the event actually starts. Coming to the other points now, I will go through a set of slides which talks about all the rules of the event. I'm sure there will be so many questions in mind. Some of you have emailed me the questions. I haven't been able to revert to them because I was waiting for this session. So please hold on to your questions. You can type all those questions in your chat window, which is available for this session. I hope all of you can see that chat window. And before typing the questions, I would suggest just hold on to the questions for some time, because I am going to cover a lot of stuff, explain everything. And after that, if you still have those questions, you can write them down. If you start writing down those questions now, I think there will be a lot of questions which I am going to answer anyway, right? There would be only some questions which might be left. So rather than having a big chunk of questions which are already answered as part of the session, let's try to minimize the set of questions and try to ask them maybe towards the end of the session. So that's my first ask. What else? And we have the Q&A at the end of session to answer any outstanding questions. Before we start with the rules and regulations, let me take a moment to thank our partners who stepped up to support the event at the very last moment, or rather at a very short notice. So I would like to thank Fasten Up India, who are the leading nutrition providers. They have a website, fastenup.in, have a huge set of nutrition related products for runners, cyclists, fitness enthusiasts, and they are sponsoring the top 10 participant giveaways for the event. They have 1 jar of BCAA, which is a nutritional supplement which is supposed to aid in muscle recovery. So it has multiple vitamins, it has electrolytes, it has amino acids which are supposed to help you recover faster after your runs. So that's the giveaway from Team Fasten Up. Team Garmin India has also been very gracious to support the event at a short notice. They are giving away t-shirts, wristbands, zipper and bandana to each of the top 10 participants. Now tentatively we will have these shipped in India, but we will definitely explore at shipping them globally as well. I cannot confirm this at this moment, but but that's what the goal of for us would be, that we'll try to ship it internationally as the situation demands based on the top 10 participants. And of course, there is support from Team SDOR as well for the top 10 finishers, men and women. Whenever we say top 10, we are always saying top 10 men and women. And they will receive a free entry to their event of choice on hdor.com, applicable to the entire 2020-2021 time frame till the end of 2021. So they can register for any event free on hdor.com. All right, let's get started with the event rules. Hourly run start time. So if we are talking about India specifically, a lot of participants from India, the event is supposed to start on June 6th at 6 a.m. I would like to specifically mention Dominican Republic, because we have some registered participants from there as well. And for them, the applicable start time is Friday, June 5th, 7:30 p.m. in the evening. So the event has a fixed start time. Participants across the world, from wherever they are registering, they are supposed to start together at the same time, so that, you know, everybody is doing the same thing. They are running at the same time. Their first hour, second hour, third hour, all those hours of the event match. There is no discrepancy or people running at different times. So when we say hourly run start time, we are saying that you have to start your run for any given hour, within the first 10 minutes. That's the rule. So as an example, your run number 1, which will be happening on hour 1 for India, starts at 5, and you should start at latest by 5:09:59, which means before your 10 minutes are up for that hourly slot. So you have to start your run within the first 10 minutes of the first hour. And the same thing will apply for the second hour, third hour, fourth hour, every hour. You have to start and make sure that you start your run within the first 10 minutes. Run end time. So you are doing these miles hour after hour after hour, and you have to make sure that for every hour you finish your run within that hour. So when we say within that hour, if we talk about the first hour finishes at 5:59:59. So it finishes before 6 hours. So you have to make sure that your run actually finishes before the hour is up. That is something very important. We cannot have hours be overlapping across multiple participants. All the participants are expected to complete their first hour run within the first hour, and then they are expected to start their second hour run after 1 hour, which means at the start of the second hour. So every hour you run the mile, you stop, you finish it before the hour is up, and then you start the next mile. Coming to the mile, a mile is 1.61 kilometers. For the sake of it, we will just keep it as 1.6 kilometers. You have to run this distance every hour. It has to be a single activity. That's the other part. You cannot do, or you should not do things like run 400 meters and then stop your watch, run 400 meters again later on, and then stop your watch again. So there should not be multiple activities resulting from this 1 mile. You have to do this as a single activity. You start your watch, run your mile, and then you pause your activity either on your GPS watch or your stopwatch or your mobile app. You have to record it once. You cannot break that mile into smaller pieces. You cannot do less than 1 mile. So I would say just err on the side of caution. Run slightly more. थोड़ा सा आप हमेशा ज़्यादा run करें. Maybe run 0.1 kilometers or 0.1 mile extra, जिससे कि वो 1.6 का 1.59 surprise ना हो जाए आपको last में. You should not be surprised to see 1.59 instead of 1.6 kilometers or 1 mile. So just make sure you run slightly more than the mile or the 1.6 kilometer distance for every hour. Less is a problem. Like I say, you cannot have clock distance less than a mile, because if you do that, that might mean your challenge is over. We will not recognize that hour. This event is happening for so many participants, and the rules need to be followed by their letter, otherwise it will lead to a lot of chaos, right? And we as an organizer do not want to land ourselves, or we want to land you in that situation. So everybody has to be very careful. They have to make sure that the mile is a mile, it's not less, it's either 1 mile or 1.6 kilometers distance as seen on your as recorded in your data, in your watch, in your mobile app, wherever. More is not a problem. We'll come to this more later. The diamond finish requires you to run a marathon in 24 hours, and it cannot be done if you run a mile an hour. A mile an hour will give you 24 miles or something like 38 something kilometers. So you will need to run something extra to make sure that you are a diamond finisher, if you have a goal of a diamond finish, which means finishing a marathon within your first 24 hours. So for that to happen, you'll have to run a bit extra. You can do that in the first hour, last hour. We'll come to that later. We are not talking about this right now. Apps to use to record your data. So virtual event, data recording is very important, and participants who have been running with us for 100 days of running or any of our virtual events probably understand that very clearly. We are very strict, we are very honest about the data part. We expect participants to run using supported apps, and by supported apps or watches, I mean things like Strava, which is our preferred platform. Why it is preferred? Because we have an automatic import system in place. If you run using Strava, have connected your SDOR account with your Strava account, then whenever you run, immediately after you run, within a few minutes, your run is imported from Strava account to your SDOR account automatically. So that's why it's our preferred choice of platform. But you can also run using Garmin Connect. For those of you who have Garmin watches, you can run using some of the phone apps like Endomondo, Runkeeper, Map My Run. Now, the good thing about many of these apps is that they allow data export to Strava. So if your app supports exporting the data to Strava, that would be the best case, because in that situation, you don't have to actually submit data hour after hour after hour. It will come automatically. But if your app does not allow you to do that, then you have to submit data every hour. And when I talk about submitting data, I'm talking about a public GPS activity link. It's a URL. It's what you type on your browser, right? Some HTTP, something, and a link which represents your running activity. It should have things like your distance. It should have things like your running time. If it's a GPS based activity, it will also have a map of where you ran, and it will have your splits. What was your per kilometer or per mile pace? So things like that. That is what a GPS activity link is. It has to be public. That is the other thing which you have to ensure. So which means it's visible to all. If you do not make it public, we cannot see it. Other participants cannot see it. And then the purpose of the event is lost. If we cannot see that data, it's meaningless for us. We do not know whether it's good, whether it's bad, how much distance it is. We are not able to make a judgment on that. So it's very important to make sure, go visit the privacy settings of your app and make sure that you set your privacy as public, at least for the duration of this event. After that you can make it private once again, so that it's not visible to other people. But just for the purpose of this event, you have to make sure that the privacy of your runs, your running activities is public, visible to all. if we talk about importing Strava runs, we do not import Strava if the activity is not listed as public. In Strava, there is a setting called visible to everyone. That is the word they use, everyone. And that's what you have to go in your Strava settings and make your activities visible to everyone. Other apps have their own privacy settings. So if you are using any of these apps, make sure the privacy has been set up accordingly. Next point, very important. Do not use Nike Run Club, Runtastic, or some of the other apps. I don't have that full list with me here, but you can be the better judge. Apps which do not have public links. So there are apps which are very closed in nature, which do not allow, you can share those runs on by sharing images from those apps to social media, to Facebook, to other platforms. Nike Run Club people share their images to Facebook, right? But Nike Run Club or Runtastic do not have a public GPS activity link. They do not have a URL, something which you can type in the browser to see the details of the run. They do not have that. Runtastic used to have that a couple of years back, and then last year they removed that functionality, and as a result, it's no longer having activity links, and hence not supported as an option for us, for our participants to submit their data on the website. So please keep in mind all these aspects. These are like very important. It's a virtual run. This is the essence of your entire activity, of the entire event. The activities are to be submitted as data. The data has to come from your apps. The data has to come from your mobile watches. And it's your responsibility to ensure that the data is something which is acceptable to the system. And these guidelines can help you meet those requirements. So make sure you follow these guidelines regarding your run data. The event is still 1 week away. So make sure you test out these things in advance. If you are not used to some of these apps, start using them now so that you have enough experience with them. Connect your Strava account to HDOR, or do manual activity submissions. We have a manual activity submission form as well on the website. You just click the plus button on the website or app, and you should be able to submit any activity manually by submitting the activity link. And activity link is something which you will get from the app. Any of these running apps, there is a share button, and when you click the share button, you will get to the activity link, and you need to practice. If you do not understand that, practice that now. Figure out where is the activity link, how you can get it, and then how can you submit the activity link on the HDOR website if you are required to submit data. So practice this. Practice makes for perfection. All right, moving ahead. Now, a very controversial topic. Many of you had raised it via different channels. Some of my runner friends, people on Facebook, they had highlighted this, that, okay, some of you are unable to run outdoors, and how do you handle the event when you are unable to run outdoors? Of course, we are going through a phase where things are starting to open up now. So as far as the government regulations go, there is more openness about going outside or running. Now, everybody cannot do that at the same level. Some people are living in areas where those permissions may not be available, right? For people living in houses where there is a rule outside where you cannot move outside, you cannot do that. For people living in apartments or society complexes, they might have permissions to stay in the society and run inside the society, or depending on the society rules, they may not have that permission. So given all these situations, we have allowed for indoor runs, but with certain conditions attached. And let me go through the conditions now. So indoor runs are allowed with conditions. They must be done using a sports watch like Garmin or a TomTom. At least these are the two watches I have tested. I'm sure there are other watches which will also allow this. So if you have another watch, you need to test it now. A lot of people here have Fitbit watch. It's a popular watch as well. I would suggest just quickly test it out for the indoor mode. When you have a Garmin watch, I think it says indoor run. When we have a TomTom watch, it says something different, but both of them have modes for running indoors. And when you run indoors using those watches, question is, how is the data recorded? How does the system know how much you ran? Because you are running indoors, there is no GPS, right? The GPS signal is not visible to the watch when you are inside your house or somewhere inside. So for that, those kind of watches have a built-in accelerometer. It's a small device within your watch which detects your movement, and by that movement, it tries to identify or record how much distance you ran. It's an approximation, it's not exact, but for the purpose of the event, I would say it's a reasonable approximation, and we accept that. So your indoor runs need to be done using a sports watch like Garmin, TomTom, Fitbit. Again, testing. If you haven't tested this before, if you haven't run indoors before using these watches, do it now, please. Let's not wait for the last hour to do that, because then everybody is going to land in a big mess and it will lead to a lot of unpleasant situations. I can bet on that. So let's not go to that point. Do this testing now. Make sure that your indoor runs are working fine if you have Garmin or TomTom watches. If you have things like mobile apps, I have tried using them and I see that they do not work in a similar manner as watches. So I would not recommend using mobile apps for now. Let me take a moment to mute everybody else again. So mobile apps is not our recommendations on our recommendation list when we are talking about running indoors. So this is one part of running indoors, one part. Let's come to the second part of running indoors. Running without data proof. This is the second part. If you cannot run outdoors with valid GPS data and you do not have a sports watch which can do accurate distance tracking and you have registered for the event, then we have a way to move forward. And that way is you will still be considered as a finisher as long as you keep doing your runs. How do you do your runs? You probably start your mobile app in indoor mode or something and just hit start and stop. The data is not getting recorded accurately. Basically, just your time is getting recorded. Or you have a very basic watch which does not have GPS and you hit start and stop, right? You want to do this event as a personal challenge because the format of the event, the concept of the event is something which excites you and you have registered just because of that concept, right? You want to challenge yourself. It's a personal challenge. So for people like you, we are also looking forward to supporting you. Of course, without GPS data, without the indoor accurate or rather approximate distance tracking, it's not a good enough point for us to reward you with a rank or a top 10 spot. And that is something which all of us should understand. If we do not have an accurate data measurement from participants, we are, as an event organizer, we would be unable to recognize you in our rankings, in our top 10 positions. But we go beyond that and we still consider you as a valid participant. We allow you to take part in the event without any questions. You can submit your run data and it will be purely trust based. We trust you that you are submitting your data accurately. Whatever distance you ran, whatever time you ran, you mention that on the website and submit your data. So it would be like a personal challenge, but it will not be a competition or a race against other participants for the purpose of ranking or for the top 10 rewards. So we have these now two category of participants who have devices, who have ways to record their data accurately, and participants who do not have that mechanism, who want to run it as a personal challenge, they will be valid event finishers, but they will not be ranked. Let's move forward. This is the final slide on running indoors, and we are talking about the night curfew, especially in India. So this is very, very valid for Indian participants. We saw the announcement yesterday from the government about the announcement of the night curfew. The night curfew is supposed to take place every day from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. So we have to respect that directive, and the system rules have been defined to take care of that situation. So how can you do that when you are under these conditions? How do you take part in this event? What do you do between 9 p.m. and 5 a.m.? If you have access to a rooftop, if you live in a society, enclosed society, where you have access to running inside the society complex, because these curfew rules will probably apply outside your gated complex and not inside. And if so, you can still run like before. Nothing changes for you. Nothing changes for you. If you are running indoors, let's say within your house or around your house, where the GPS signal is not available, using a watch in indoor mode, nothing changes for you, right? The distance tracking is still happening, and you are following government regulations. You are not violating any rules applicable in your environment. But if you cannot do that, then we have come up with an alternative proposal to have every participant during 9 p.m. to 5 p.m. click 3 selfies of yourself. So something like this, you clicked your own photo, you have to clearly show the date and time. So have your watch where the date and time are visible, and then you submit that information as part of our submission form. There will be no import, there will be no Strava, there will be no GPS. You do this 3 times. Submission will only be once, but you have to capture these photos 3 times. Start of the run, middle of the run. Of course, there is no accurate middle of the run, but tentatively you have to take your own calls. Whenever you think like you have done 800 meters, 900 meters, 1 kilometer, take a selfie, keep your phone handy wherever you are, take a selfie, and once more at the end of the run, and then you have to submit all these 3 photographs as part of the data submission for 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. Again, this is optional. If you can do this event by valid runs, and the rules allow you to do that, please follow that. Do the run outside if you can, and if the rules allow. But if the rules do not allow, wherever you are, please follow those rules and use this mechanism for taking part in the event and for running during the night curfew timelines. Let's move to the next rule, data submission. We are already at 34 minutes, so we have half an hour left. Data submission. Data submission has to happen every hour before the next hour starts. So for participants who are starting at 5 a.m. India time, for the first hour run, the data submission should happen before 6 a.m. We have Strava imports enabled, but due to any reason, if the Strava import does not happen within the hour, it will be a participant's responsibility to first of all check that your data has come or not, and if not, you are required to submit that information manually. And when I say manually means, of course, sharing with a proper link. The link is still, even if the Strava import has not happened, in your app, in your Strava, on your Strava account, you have that link available for your run, right? And you need to copy that link and submit it on the event data submission form, which is available on the website. And please make it a habit of checking every hour before the end of the hour that that your data is available on the system. Let's make sure that nobody misses to do that. Everybody, before you start with your next hour's run, you need to go to the SDUR website or the mobile app, check your account. It will take a minute or two, but you need to figure out, you need to confirm that your data is there before you head out for your next hour run. Submitting data together for multiple hours will not be acceptable. So we won't allow situation where people run for 5 hours, do not submit any data, and then after 5 hours, try to submit data for all the 5 hours. You can imagine if you do that, what will happen to us as event organizers? We won't know what's happening in the system. We won't know if people are still running or their event is finished, or how many participants are still left in the event. The entire concept will go for a toss if we allow that to happen. So you have to make sure that every hour's data submission happens within the hour itself and not after it. This is very important. Okay, coming to the Zoom online attendance, I saw a lot of comments from several of you about why are we doing that? Why are we having this Zoom system? It's basically about having a better perspective or proof that the person is active and doing the event on their own. So I know you are submitting data. This is a virtual event. This is a challenge. So data submission is still working, right? And that happens on other events. But we, for this specific event, it's a different kind of challenge, and we need that physical presence from participants to see that they are active and they are not handing out their GPS watches or mobile apps to somebody else to participate in this event. Otherwise this event will basically go on forever, right? You understand that, I understand that, everyone else understands that. The event will go on forever if people are sharing their devices with other people and resorting to cheating. So that's the very reason, that's the main reason where we have this condition that everybody should appear on camera in a video conferencing app, and we have chosen one of the popular ones, which is Zoom. I am sure you all have, or some of you have heard about privacy concerns around using Zoom. I understand that. I have been following that very religiously over the last few months on how the things are happening. Zoom has improved upon their security and privacy, and given the current situation, I find that, or we as a team find that as the best option to interact with participants and to have this sense of presence of participants in the event via the Zoom video conferencing platform. It's a free app. Any of you can download it, and you will be required to join your join your Zoom sessions during the entire event. Now make sure that your Fit ID is part of the Zoom profile. I saw that most of the participants have already done it today. Some of you haven't still done that, but please make sure that you edit your Zoom profile so that your Fit ID is part of your surname. It will help us tremendously, that when we see people on the Zoom, Zoom session, where we see this collage of people, your faces, your videos, and your name below it. If we have the Fit ID below it, we'll be quickly able to take screenshots. We'll be quickly able to note down your numbers. It will help us to record that data fast and make sure the data is valid. If that information is not there, it might take us more time, and we are talking about very small windows. We are talking about 100 or more participants to this event, and we are talking about a 10-minute window, right, in which we have to manage and you have to manage putting in your attendance and then going out for the run. We cannot afford to waste too much time, and that is the reason why we have this requirement of putting in your Fit ID, so that we can quickly identify who you are, and we can quickly identify who you are and record your information in the system. I see we have some participants from Dominican Republic joining in a bit late in the session. Welcome to you. You will be able to see the entire webinar recorded on our Facebook page. You will be able to see the entire session recorded, and these slides will also be shared once more. So you don't need to worry if you have missed some part of this session. And the final point, you have to ensure that you have the latest Zoom app, version 5.0 or later. In fact, starting May 31st, which is yesterday, Zoom has made it a condition that they will allow participants to join meeting only if they have Zoom app version 5 or later, because they have enhanced the security and privacy of the app, and they will no longer allow participants to join if they have older versions. And by older versions, I mean version 4.4 or 4.5 or whatever version before version 5. So you need to make sure that you have the latest version of Zoom installed either on your laptop, desktop, mobile, from wherever you want to access Zoom. You should be able to access it. The app is available on a wide set of platforms. You have to check out what works for you and install the app, create your account, and set up your last name accurately to reflect the FIT ID of your SDOR account. The FIT ID is very easy to find out. I think I have shared that information already as part of the registration emails, post-registration emails, or for the Zoom email, and that should be easy. All right, so Zoom online attendance, this is the process, how we are going to do it. You have to connect to the Zoom meeting within the first 10 minutes before you leave for the run. So join Zoom, mark your attendance, and go out for the run. That's how it's supposed to happen. So try to, we are saying first 10 minutes, but let's not risk things for ourselves by trying to push that towards the later part of those 10 minutes, because then again, it will lead to a lot of chaos. Try to do this attendance part as soon as possible, which means whenever that hour starts, the first hour, second hour, third hour, fourth hour, the first 10 minutes, try to join the Zoom session at the earliest within those 10 minutes, and make sure you have the video turned on. That is very important. We cannot have blind participants, or when we cannot see who is joining in. We might have your FIT ID. You might be joining in, or your twin brother may be joining in, right? We don't know. So we need to see you there physically in that video session. So please make sure that you are joining in with the video on. We do not need your sound for this session. It's just looking at you, making sure you are there, and that's it basically. So what we'll do is, the meeting host, we will have multiple meeting hosts across these, this event will go on for how long, we do not know. But we will have hosts on rotation basis. We will have people from our team who are, who will be doing the responsibility of being the host for the meeting. And when they see you joining in, when they see you on the video, they will say, okay, let's say, Mr. Sudhir Sharma, you are here. We have seen you. You can leave now. So Sudhir Sharma can leave when we announce that. Sudhir can then leave the session. His job is done. He can go out and run. So we will call each person by name that we have seen you and you can now leave. And once you hear it from us, you are then free to leave the Zoom meeting and go out for that for the run for that hour. You will need to join this meeting every hour. Mark your attendance, exit the meeting. The meeting will continue to happen. The meeting will keep on happening for 24 hours or beyond that. And you have to join that same meeting every hour in the first 10 minutes. Try to join it earliest as possible within that 10 minutes. So Zoom meeting allows for a meeting 24 hours long. The event is definitely going to go beyond 24 hours because I'm sure there will be participants who will like to carry on for more than that also. So we will have one link for every 24 hours. I will create the invite for the first 24 hours and send it out, and then I will create another invite for the next 24 hours and send it out closer to the start of those next 24 hours. So you will get the invite in your emails or in your email. Basically, don't forget to check your spam folders, because sometimes the emails go to the spam folder and people do not see that and miss that. So the meeting invite will be there for you. You can join that meeting every hour, first 10 minutes. And if you are completing 24 hours and wanting to continue the event, you have to switch to the next link, the next invite, because that first 24 hours link will expire. It will finish at the end of 24 hours. A new meeting link has to be sent out. So this is how the event will go on as far as the Zoom online attendance is concerned. When does the event end? So the event format, I hope you understand it now, is open-ended. It will continue till only one runner, one participant remains in the event. As soon as we have this last participant who's left now, and the rest of the participants have dropped off, the event will be declared as finished. So one participant left, event ends. So it's very important to remember that the event will not continue further once the participant is left. If the participant decides to do more hours, that we will leave to that person. But for us as an event format, we will finish the event when a single person is left. Finisher categories, you have seen this on the website: diamond, gold, silver, bronze. You should target, before even you start the event, you should have a mental target with a specific objective, that this is what I'm capable of, this is what I can mentally and physically handle well without taking too much stress for myself, right? So if you run for 6 hours, which means you are doing at least 6 miles, then you are classified as a bronze finisher. 12 hours, 12 miles at least, silver. 24 hours, 24 miles, gold. And we have a diamond finisher as well, which means you have run a marathon distance in the first 24 hours. Since you are required to run a mile an hour, it means you are doing at least 24 miles, which means some distance is left. And that distance is 2.2 miles or 3.56 kilometers. You may choose to do this event, this extra distance, as part of your first hour, last hour, whatever hour. We don't care. We don't care when you run this extra distance. What we care about is that this extra distance is not to be run as a separate activity. I told this previously also. Each activity, each hour's activity has to be a single activity as far as, a GPS activity, an indoor activity, a data submission link, activity link is concerned. It has to be a single link. We are not joining or combining multiple links or multiple activities as part of this event format. So if you are running somewhat extra in any of those hours, please make sure that you are doing that extra run as part of the same run and not breaking it into multiple sections or links. So make sure, if you are targeting diamond, you run those 2.2 miles or 3.56 kilometers anywhere between the 24 hours, but as part of the same mile run. Just extend that mile run by a certain amount. You can do that over multiple hours by running, let's say, 2.2 miles, break it into 1.1 and 1.1 miles extra over 2 hours, or whatever format you want to do. What at the end of the 24 hours, we need to see that you finished a marathon distance and you ran at least 1 mile every hour. That's what we'll see. Your safety during the challenge. This is very important. You have to be very mindful of the fact that this is a physical endurance event. This is a mental challenge. This is a physical challenge, and you have to be ready for it. It's going to be tough. There is going to be sleep deprivation when you are doing this, right? You'll be short on your sleep. You will find it difficult to sleep even when you try to sleep after doing a run, right? And then you have to set up an alarm and wake up and do this hour after hour, right? It's going to be a very tough job, and you have to be physically and mentally ready for it. Ensure social distancing norms. You do not need to, or you should not, or you must not run with others, except maybe with your family members if they are also participating. That's the only condition. You should follow all the applicable rules and advisories from the authorities, from the government, from whatever is applicable in your locality. Different rules apply to all of us around the world at this point of time. In India also, we have like containment zones and green and orange and red zones and all those things. So there might be differences in different places, and please be sure that you are aware of what those rules are and observe them to the fullest. The next point is very important. You should set up an effective support system in your family for this event. You need to have your alarms in place for every hour. Make sure when are you going to wake up. You should know that in advance. When are you going to wake up every hour? Or not even if you are not sleeping, just make sure you have an alarm in place which tells you that now is the time to run. Make sure you have defined the eating pattern for those 24 hours so that there is some light food happening all across, and you are not depriving yourself of nutrition. Sleep pattern, you need to focus on how you want to follow it. Maybe in your daytime you do not attempt any sleep at all and continue with your life as you do on a day basis. The event starts on a weekend, so hopefully a lot of you will not have challenges with your work. But if you are working from home, you run, you want to work for some time and then you want to start another run, you are free to do that. But make sure that you mentally establish that pattern. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. Don't just start running. Make a plan. Make a plan of what you want to do during whatever your target timeline is. If your target timeline is 6 hours, make a plan of 6 hours in advance. If your plan is 12 hours, 24 hours, make a plan for those hours in advance so that you know that what are you going to do in each of those hours. Focus on what you, if you have specific, if you are planning to have your sleep covered during some of those hours, make a plan for that in advance, that these are the hours in which I will try to focus on my sleep as well. It may happen, it may not happen, but put that as part of your plan. And finally, have your family members keep you charged up by providing whatever assistance, whatever motivation they can as part of keeping you going. Sometimes we feel very low during these extended phases. Ultra runners know, among this community, know more than many of us that there are mental challenges when we are going for these long distance or long duration events, and we need to step out of our comfort zone when we even attempt them. So have a support system in place, just like you have a support system in place for ultra runs, where you have hydration points, where you have your drop bags. You have a continuous support system in marathons, in half marathons, right? In the form of volunteers who are helping you every 2 kilometers, whatever, to keep you going. You need to have your own support system in place for this event also. And finally, have someone who can stay in touch with you every hour. So if you are staying by yourself, you are trying to do this this event hour after hour after hour, and you are going to hit some points where it's going to get very challenging for us. Make sure that there is a friend, there is an associate, there is a family member who can call you on phone every hour and make sure you are all right. So our health, our safety, our fitness is most important, and please make sure that you understand what your limits are. Do not try to go beyond your limits or try to take unnecessary risk with your health just because you want to keep on going and not stop, or you go into an endless cycle of competition with somebody in the event, right? Try to avoid that kind of situation. Do your best, but when the time comes to stop, be ready for that. That is very important. Be ready and be aware that this is my limit. Now this is the right time for me to stop. I should stop now. You should be very clear, and maybe set some goals in your mind before even starting the event. Try to target that If you are not able to successfully reach that milestone, it's fine, it's okay. You should stop early. If you meet that milestone and you still see that you are good enough, you can go on for a few more hours. Feel free to carry on. But once you start feeling that it's becoming very challenging for me, maybe that is the time to stop. Okay, so I've said we are already running late. I see it's 55 minutes, but we are towards the end, and we will have, of course, time for your Q&A. I think now is a time to start typing your questions. If you still have, because I have covered most of my content. I'm just going through the final few slides, and if you think I have not covered something which is very important for you, please type it now in the chat window. So this is a small cheat sheet for the event. Backyard Mile Challenge BMC cheat sheet. You can maybe take a printout of this and hang it somewhere so that you know, okay, this is what you have to do. Set up an alarm for, let's say, 5 minutes before every hour. Wake up, get ready for the run. Join the Zoom session at the start of the hour. Make sure your video is on. Here, session host, call my name. Attendance is marked. You know I'm done for the Zoom. Exit the Zoom session. Go for the run. Make sure to finish before the end of the hour. Keep some margin. Don't try to cut close to the limits, right? Maybe you spill a few seconds or a minute above the limit, and then your entire effort is wasted. Please make sure you finish your run with some margin available to you. Submit data with GPS activity proof or indoor link before the end of the hour. Even if the Strava import is set up, you have to check that your data is there. And in case of the night curfew situation, you are required to submit your data with those 3 photos as required, which should show the date and time in your watch as well. So that's the cheat sheet. What happens if situations, couple of them I've presented here. Anything can happen, right? And you should be, this is what we recommend, that when, for example, if you are unable to log into the Zoom session within the first 10 minutes due to any technical glitch or something is not working out for you, drop an email to support@hdwork.com, drop a message or a voice. You can actually hold a button on WhatsApp and talk to or send a message to the event organizers by using this WhatsApp number, explaining the situation. Please be very detailed in explaining what has happened. Share as much information as you can in the form of screenshots or whatever proof you have, and we will consider it. If you are unable to submit your data due to whatever reasons before the end of the session, again, same action. Provide as much information to us as possible. And finally, be ready for organizer decisions. Like, we have defined a specific format. We will hear you out when something goes wrong at your end. We will try to understand the genuineness of that concern. We won't allow that concern to be raised time after time after time. Please understand that. There might be an exception or two where we will hear you out. Okay, this is not happening for you. Okay, we give you an exception, but we are not going to give an exception time after time. Please be sure of that. And if for some reason it's not working out for you, for example, let's say something goes for a toss totally at your end and you are not able to connect to any of the Zoom sessions. Now, for us as an event organizer, that was an essential element of the event. It's very important part of the event. And if you are unable to do it, no matter what your explanation, if it happens on a regular basis, you will still remain a participant because our system and our rules allow that, right? But you will not be considered for rankings. You will not be considered for the top 10 positions. So we will take calls on a case-by-case basis. We might allow exceptions. It's not guaranteed. We will hear out your case, try to judge if it is genuine or not, and we will try to take our call. And our only request is, please consider all these points, and we will have exceptions only in very limited cases. If they are, and the organizer's decisions, please consider them final and binding when that situation happens. We will be doing a BMC practice session as well. So a day before the event, if for India participant, the event happens on June 6th, 5 a.m. A day before the event, June 5th, 5 a.m. For Dominican Republic participant, the event starts at 7:30, June 5th, Friday. Practice session will be on June 4th, 7:30 p.m. For Dominican Republic participants. So one day before your actual event, exact 24 hours before, we will have a test session. I will send a test invite to a Zoom session. Please get familiar with the process using that session. You will be doing it exactly as you are going to do it the next day. Join at the specified time. We will do 2 sessions. First hour, second hour. So think of it as, okay, you are going to start your first hour run now, join the Zoom, mark your attendance, go out and do your mile or spend some time somewhere just for the sake of it. Start your watches and all, complete your run, submit the data in the system as well. If you are doing Strava and you have connected your Strava device, see that the data has come in, imported within that first hour by the end of the hour. If it has not come in, there must be some reason for it. You can drop an email to our support people and they should be able to figure out if there is a problem. But within the hour, if it is not submitted, if it's not imported, submit it yourself. Like our cheat sheet was telling you, you have to go through the entire process at every step of the way, and you have to make sure you follow that process. Set up your account privacy. Before that, update the Zoom version, edit your profile last name before you join this session. So this practice session will basically make you comfortable with what the event format is and how you are supposed to follow the event. All right, so 1 hour and we were able to just about complete the session, which means we ran 10 minutes more than what was required. Now is the time for your Q&A. So let me go back and see what are the questions which are coming in from the participants. I'm not now going to stop the share and let me go back to the chats. I see there are 10 questions already. So from Mamta, does terrace running will be counted for the event? So when we are talking about terraces, it's like outdoor, right? From what I see, it's outdoor running. You are on top of your building, on the rooftop. GPS is available. You can use the GPS watches. Should not be a problem. So terrace running is as good as outdoor running for our perspective. We have a question from Laszlo. I hope I'm getting the name right. What if we cannot join in Zoom and is getting late to start the run? Like I said, we might have an exception once in a while, but if you are consistently not able to join Zoom, we will consider that as a problem for us. So joining the Zoom is an essential requirement of the event. We cannot have participants not joining the Zoom session. It's very important. So try it out, install Zoom app, do our test session, see if there's a problem. I don't think we should be facing problems with this. And most importantly, try to join at the earliest. Don't leave it out till the 10th minute to join the Zoom session. Try to join in on the first minute itself so that you have enough time. Sometimes we see that, okay, the Zoom, it's taking us time to join the Zoom session for whatever reasons. It takes, on rare cases, it takes like a few seconds or a minute, right? When the Zoom servers are overloaded or whatever, that kind of situation might happen or can happen. And that's the reason where you should try to join on the first minute itself. Naman has a question. Can we get recorded video of this session? Yes, Naman, the recorded video should already, this session has been covered live on our Facebook page as well. So after the session, go to our Facebook page. The live session recorded should be there. Sudhir Sharma from Roorkee. Before starting the run every hour, can I leave the Zoom and join again on the start of the next hour? I think I made that very clear during the session itself. The process, the cheat sheet, I think that walks you through what is to be done, right? You join Zoom, you mark your attendance. I or our team members call out your name. Sudhir Sharma, yes, you are present. We have noted it. You can now leave the session. And then you are free to leave the session, go out for your run, come back in the next hour and join the session again. So Zoom has to be joined every hour during those first 10 minutes. Next, Krishna Murthy has a question. Explain the process to submit data using apps other than Strava. It's a simple form on the website. Go to hdor.com, log in over there, and then just click on the plus button either on the mobile app or on the website and submit your data. There is just one main thing which has to be submitted, and that is the activity link. Be familiar with what an activity link is, how your other apps can share that activity link. Test in advance. Test this part today to make sure that you understand how an activity link can be shared from your GPS watch account or your mobile app to 100 Days of Running website, HDOR website. Pratima has a comment. Sometimes Strava abruptly stops, then doesn't show resume option. Can I trust on my iPhone health app in that case? Can I email for every run with screenshot? Most of these, no. The answer would be no. Strava app, this is something you have to experiment. If
Actually, hello sir. Actually, I want to like मैंने अभी साइरस के भी काफी वर्चुअल कॉम्पिटिशंस किए, उनका फ्लोर चैलेंज किया था मैंने, and I did 77 floors indoor with my 2 floors. Somehow I found with Endomondo या Strava इनके same नहीं आते. I mean, you don't record the same data. Lot of difference is there. I'm a cyclist also. Today I did 32 kilometers. My Strava stopped abruptly. Sometimes I don't know when you are running also, because I'm a marathon runner also. So Strava कई बार आपको dip देता है, मतलब धोखा देता है. Cheats. तो बहुत I mean, I feel myself very get discouraged. क्योंकि in my premises I have only 100 step का round. So once you are taking the same round again and again, you need to complete around 25 laps to complete 2 kilometers, right? I do it daily. So उसमें भी कई बार होता है Strava stops in between after finish of 1 kilometer, and उसमें 2 options आती हैं, either finish stop, resume काफी कम आता है. Resume में तो you resume it immediately. But in that case, if it is coming only stop and finish, then what to do?
Okay, so there are 2 things I can guide on this. One is look at Strava troubleshooting page. I will send the link for that page to the audience participants.
Okay.
Sometimes specific mobiles have specific issues that when your screen is turned off, your GPS is turned off also by the system to save power, and because of which the session may get disconnected. So that is one problem. I will share about a Strava troubleshooting page which talks about these problems. The second thing is you should have a backup plan. If you think this is happening regularly with your Strava account, then maybe you borrow a phone from your family member, set up your Endomondo account as well on that, and run using both of those apps together. You have a backup. If Strava fails, you submit the link from Endomondo on the website. So if you have a situation like this, you should be ready for that. Third case, if you do not have either of these things going, the backup would only be to repeat that activity. You had a bad 1 mile run, you start again and do another good 1 mile run. That is the only option. So these are the 3 possibilities for you.
And one more question, sir, right now. Last time when I did your 100 days running challenge, though I completed 90 days, but it recorded only 80 days because I was traveling that time abroad also. So उस case में I just did the manual thing which you are talking about right now also, कि you can submit your data with the this thing, because above 10 kilometer you ask for the activity link that time. But in
Right.
this case, activity link mein kaise, matlab, how to do that when I do it manually? Agar
So,
wo automatically, if it doesn't happen.
okay, you are saying if the link is not available or you did, I'm
If I'm
feeling,
unable to do it automatically.
what do you mean by not able to do automatically?
मतलब automatically हुआ ही नहीं था. Even I asked my coach also, but
Mhm.
somehow they also couldn't do it on my phone. Last time my coach is there. हम लोग आपका we do it as a team.
Mhm.
आपने you must have heard the name of Harish Sharma. He is our coach,
Mhm.
and I'm from Faridabad. हम लोग काफी करते हैं FTC group. So आपके मेरे केस में वो हुआ ही नहीं था. तो I used to download daily in manually. Manually मैं अपना input देती थी. I used to put it manually. So when I was traveling abroad, I couldn't do that क्योंकि वो lost हो गया data. So in this case, if it happens, if it is not automatically going, then what should I do?
Be ready for a backup plan, like I said. If your data is not available in the system, the backup has to be. If you think that's
Yeah,
the
बिल्कुल जो if what I am doing with the time and all, the screenshot which is on the Strava, that can I send? Can I send that?
no, screenshots can be fabricated by everybody very easily.
अरे यार,
So we do not allow screenshots. So
चलो
you
तो
have
sir,
to.
we will do it. Okay,
So
we'll take it
you
as
need
a
to,
chance.
yeah, you either take a chance or set up an alternate
5th June
device.
which you are doing, you are giving us a dummy demo, na? So that day we can try that.
Yes.
I will
So
definitely do that.
run using two apps. If one does not
Okay.
work, use the second app to submit data.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Lazo has a question about are we having any age categories or probably age category winners? The answer is no, Laszlo. The event does not recognize age category winners. The top 10 will be the top 10 irrespective of the age category, because this is a this is a small event with a very limited size of participants, and that's why we have not kept any specific age categories for the event. I understand that and I recognize that is a genuine concern. But for the perspective of this event, we are unable to, we haven't defined any specific age categories. Vishnu has a question, does top 10 mean both men and women combined? Yes, I think I clarified that, Vishnu. It is separate. We cannot combine, and we must not combine men and women together into one bucket. Both of them are separate. Top 10 men, top 10 women. Some of my friends who registered, they did not get a webinar invitation mail, so they could not join. Message from Naman. So Naman, the event is available online on Facebook. You should be able to see it there, and your friends should be able to see it there. Also, I will be putting all these slides which I showcased today on the event page itself. I will embed this slide. So everybody should be able to see the slide as well on the event page, which is hdor.com/backyard mile challenge. One thing which I forgot to, I think the questions are done. One thing which I forgot to mention in this session is that many of you had not completed your registration. So you made the payment and then you did not go back to hdor.com and submit your registration code. There is a process to do that. And if any of you has not done it, please go back, check our emails. It might be lying in a spam, in your spam folder, just in case. See the spam folder as well. It should contain a registration code. Take the registration code, copy it, go to the website, and there's a process to complete your registration. It's in the settings section on the hdor.com website or your app. You can complete, you have to complete your registration for the event by submitting the registration code. So registration is a two-part process on our system. You make the payment on Townscript, you receive an email with your registration code, you go to hdor.com, create an account there if you don't have an account, and finally apply the registration code to make sure that you are now confirming your registration for the event. So in case any of you haven't done that, please do it now. So I guess that covers the question. If you have any further questions, please feel free to email us on support@stor.com. That's our support portal. We will answer each of your questions. And we are going to meet again one day before the event anyway for that testing session. Please try to join that and don't miss that, because that will give you a real life feeling of how the event is going to unroll for you, how it's going to happen for you. So with that said, good luck to everyone. Enjoy the event, do it with a lot of energy and passion, and do it safely. Safety is the most important thing. You should keep that in mind. At no point in the event you should risk anything. So do it for fun, do it as a good challenge, do it as a strong motivation in these tough times where you are not able to go out, not able to meet your friends. It will be a refreshing change for you from your day-to-day lifestyle. And have fun, and all the best for the event. Thank you.